Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon to everybody around the world. Welcome back to the One Piece video featuring your boy, Monkey D. Luffy. Get ready for a very, very spicy deck profile featuring OP07 here on the channel, which I'm very excited to bring to you guys, let alone we will have a double feature. Ace will be coming up next, considering that's what you guys voted for the most here on the current poll. And then following these two, that might be a toss-up what I decide to dive into after that. But overall, let's dive into this list here, show you what I'm cooking up, as to what I'm using, why I'm using this, and so forth. In any case, we're going to be running with 14 2K counters today, with 4 Usopp, 2 Frankie, 4 Uta, or not Uta, Ulti, wow, excuse me, that's crazy, and then 4 Sanji. Now, keep in mind that these Sanjis here don't have as much value as they do in a deck such as like Reiju. It's a little bit harder to get his ability off to play him down for free here in this deck list, obviously. So like Law, Reiju, they have a much better time utilizing this card. But, you know, sometimes in a pinch, the 6K, 6 cost blocker does come in handy here in this list. Now, you can utilize other blockers in this deck as well, and I'm sure you guys already know. Between Queen and Law, there is one more that's actually really, really good here, and that is Eustace Kid. I opted to not use him because I'm not playing a RP Law deck. I'm not playing RP Luffy either, whereas we typically don minus for our abilities and, you know, get them back. I feel like in this deck, you can get away with just Queen. You can get away with just Law. I don't necessarily need the Kid. Really? Windows? Seriously right now? Go about your day. Now, he's really good though, but personally, I'd rather guess I'd take the Sanji over him, just because Sanji also doubles his 2K counter and a 6K body, so that's just me. If you don't like Sanji, of course, you can add in the Kid, but you also lose the 2K counters, so do keep that in mind. Now, speaking of which, there are going to be a lot of cards in this deck that have no counter power, and that's just the nature of the deck. It's how it is. We're going to be running with Magellan, depending on how you want to say it, Paulie as well. Obviously, we need our big body, our big boy Kaido, to come down and go for late game. But between these two here, there is a current deck in the format that has been dominating since he's been released, and I think you guys know what that is by now. If not, you know, you're probably living underneath a rock. And that would be Enel. Enel is pretty much everywhere still. He's still very, very good. The downside to this is he is the most dominant yellow leader in the current game, which does suck. Katakuri kind of fell off a little bit, and we don't see him as much as we used to, thanks to all of the RP Laws running around. So, I mean, I appreciate Law in the same sense. I also hate seeing RP Law. I think a lot of us do as well. So I can't wait for Katakuri to come back at some point. But right now, Enel is still there. So Magellan gets really good value into every yellow matchup in the format. Whether it's Enel or some other rogue deck, such as Vegapunk or Crocodile here. You'll occasionally will run into like Bello Betty and Katakuri. He gets value in both of these, but right now we're seeing Enel a lot more at your locals and on Sim or what have you, regional events and all that. So I must include Magellan just for that reason. Being able to ramp up very, very quickly to 10 Dawn and drop 2 of these in a turn can really set these two decks back quite a ways, especially when you know Enel is looking to play down big bodies to heal life. Same thing with Katakuri. So I think this card is a must still in Purple Luffy, so please don't sleep on it. He's very, very strong right now overall. Now, obviously, into decks such as like RP Law, this really doesn't have any value because he's going to bottom deck you with Gordon. But decks such as like Lucci and Black Yellow Luffy and Moria, this is pretty strong. Just getting them to minus Dawn and then forcing them to pop this card by, you know, doing like a combination of like Lucci or Absalon, you know, with Ice Age, Tempest Kick, whatever, is great because then they lose an extra 2 Dawn when they get rid of it. Now, Paulie, on the other hand, I feel like this is a must still in this build. Now, you can sub him out if you choose to. There is another unit who is really, really good in that slot. Just be mindful, he's a bit more expensive, and that would be King. But King into like RP Law is pretty solid due to the fact that this is a 7K body, whereas Paulie is a 6. But he's also more expensive. So that's like the ups and downs. He does kill a 4 cost, same thing as Paulie, but Paulie also ramps you with Dawn. The reason why A or B would be in the list is due to the fact that in the current meta, you have Bonnie, who is very, very strong into a deck like this, or just in general, Bonnie is really, really good at keeping Dawn active due to certain cards. Now, Polly into these matchups are going to be pretty ideal, just because Polly can get rid of the key pieces, such as Uro, or Uroj, Mad Monk. This is a very, very strong card and very prominent in Bonnie. So having Polly or King just to get rid of this so Bonnie can stop getting her her Dawn to come back to active is really, really good. So of course in those matchups I try to mulligan for this or like dig for it if I'm able to. We don't have any draw mechanic in this deck whatsoever other than Queen. So being able to see this in opening hand versus like a green matchup is going to be something you're going to be looking forward to. Now he can't pop anything else in Bonnie that's relevant, you know, so like Cavendish is safe. It's really just Urok, which does kind of suck, but it be what it be, right? Now, everything else here is going to be generally like generic, let's be fair. You have ulti and page 1 combo. This is very strong into decks who don't go wide or build the board as fast as you can. Having the ability to put down ulti on your second turn into a page 1, 2 bodies on board plus leader, following turn swinging 3 times is pretty huge. Most of the time, you will be doing either this combination with page and ulti, you'll be dropping down a Law, or a Mr. 2-Bond Clay on your second turn. That's the ideal setups most of the time. But just having A and B here is really strong, just because it's multiple bodies on board. This helps you combat decks such as Boa, who likes to go wide as well. It helps you combat decks such as Doflamingo, who also likes to go wide really, really quickly. But decks such as like Luffy and Gecko Moria, they can easily deal with a wide board with, you know, one combination. So do be mindful of that. Spending 4 Dawn, minus in a Dawn to get 2 of these on board, and then just getting popped the next turn feels really bad. But what are you gonna do? Law is gonna be a staple in this build as well, just for that very reason. Most of the time, he just gets value if your opponent has, you know, 7 cards or more. After that, he kind of gets irrelevant. I mean, he's just a body on board that can block an attack, right? But most of the decks can just remove these for free. So, I mean, he has a generic ability which is really good into yellow. That's about it. Oh, sorry, and Bonnie. But let's be realistic. Other than that, you're not really going to get a lot of value in this here. He helps out decks such as Reiju, Bonnie, or Reiju. Boa normally has like a smaller hand, so I mean, you're not really hitting her all too much most of the time. And then Gecko Moria, Rob Lucci, you're really just putting cards in trash so they can fish them out later on. But other than that, he's going to be a staple unit just because, again, on your second turn, you have an option of hopefully making your opponent discard 2 cards, which is really strong. Now, your big bodies here are going to be your Eustace Kids, your Kaidos, and of course your 10-drop Luffys. There are occasions where I feel like this is really strong, depending on what matchup you are in. If you are playing into a deck such as like Enel, right? If you put that Enel down to like make him use his passive, and then you pop the Luffy over, you still have to get rid of the passive again, considering you are taking another turn, right? So in that matchup, this is kind of a and I tend to opt to try to draw for Kaidos and Magellans, just so I can try to rush down the board as quickly as possible. Seeing this in that matchup is, of course, a lifesaver, but having something like this that can pop a small blocker, like Shirahoshi or Sanji or what have you, can be pretty good. In any case, this, I feel like, is good here in this deck, but I also feel like he's better in RP Luffy, so I don't really try to save up or look out for him. If I have him and I can play him, I have an opportune moment to do so, I'll do it. But most of the time, my game winners are going to be the Kaido and the Magellan, depending on my matchup. Now, we've added in 2 Ragnaroks here and 2 Eustace Kid, just because there's not really that many other options. This is really strong, of course, because it allows you to become a 6k leader, which does help you sometimes. And a lot of decks will spend resources to remove this, which is great because that's less resources they have to remove like your Kaidos and your 10-drop Luffys or something else on board, which is fine. The Ragnarok is teched in here for Bonnie, and Bonnie alone. Let's be fair. We run 2 of these, it's not stopping an L. You're going to pop Katakuri maybe once, great. They're just going to play another one. You know, this is really good to get rid of Eustace Kid, in the early game, you know. Other than that, it doesn't really serve much purpose unless you have to get rid of a very, very pesky blocker or attacker. So like Eustace Kid or Cavendish and Bonnie. And then, of course, the 2 0-cost events. But overall, we're going to dive into a bunch of games today. I'm going to try my best. Let me know what you guys are running. If you guys are still playing Purple Luffy, this deck does get very, very strong once we get the brand new structure decks that come out in the foreseeable future, which I'm very, very excited for, especially when it comes to decks for blue. Blue gets a big bump, Whitebeard gets a big bump, but this deck in general, when we gain access to Monkey D. Luffy here, Zoro, and Nami, it's going to get very, very scary. Just having 8 Dawn, which is very easy to do with this deck, allows you to draw 2 cards and filter, which is really good. On top of that, Zoro allows you to search things, which this deck didn't have access to before. Zoro allows you to search and then get Straw Hat Pirate cards, which is, again, really, really good. And then, of course, Luffy here allows you to get multiple bodies down on board. So basically, this is like Jinbei, but for purple, and a bit more expensive because we also have to minus the Dawn, and he's a 7 cost. But you can play a 5 cost or less from your hand. That's purple, Straw Hat, which is really good. So you have multiple different options that you can play down with this guy. And I can't wait until these are released, and we're going to see a lot more Purple Luffy running around. But overall, let's dive into a bunch of games here. I'll see you guys in a split second. Let's go. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. We're going to dive into a bunch of games today. Coming at you guys with Purple Luffy into Boa Hancock. In which this should probably be a tough game, but we'll see. It really depends on what we're able to see here. If we're able to get a bunch of ramp pieces in the early game. Which, of course, we did not see Bon Clay. We do have Law. So maybe we can get her to discard a bunch of cards today, but I doubt it. Let's be honest. Okay, we got 2 bodies on board. Let's ramp up after we go 5 here. If she takes it, then we drop Law. She doesn't. Okay, cool. She probably saw it coming. It is what it is. So I guess we'll just ramp. We'll play down Ulti in page 1, just to have 2 bodies on board here. Getting these down early is going to be pretty good, considering the fact that we went first. Therefore, if she wants to play Gravity Blade, it's going to be a little bit more awkward for her to do so. Goes 5. We'll counter out here. Well, 6 in hands. She's 4 down open. I think she's going to play a Jinbei down or something to get 2 bodies on board, if I had to guess. Yep. Okay. Wow. Put him on the bottom of the deck. Awesome. Cool. Love to see it. That's not what we needed here. I was hoping to get a Magellan or a Queen. That way we can fix our hand. Let's go 7 first. She takes it. Okay. No trigger. We're going to go 7 here, and then 7 with ulti as well. This way, next turn, she can just spend resources trying to clear board. We have a little bit of counter in hand, so if he can protect something, that'd be great. I don't see Boa swinging in with Doflamingo, so she might just put Dawn to Jinbei here. Leader, maybe, or Leader and Sengoku to try to clear one of these. I'll counter this out as well. As much as I don't want to, but it's another body on board that I can go ahead and try to remove her field with. So I guess we have to get rid of Sanji or Law. She's got 5 in hand. I don't think we're going to get value with Law here. At all. Because she's going to play something else, right? Therefore she goes down in card advantage. 5, 4 open. So she either plays a body on board or goes in with Sengoku. Nice. Yep. I mean, we had no choice there, but that's fine. We get a Magellan here, or Magellan, whatever you want to call it. This can get rid of the Doflamingo. And then we could try to go for the Jinbei. I could ramp up. We can go 5 into Jinbei. Or we can go 6 into Jinbei with a leader here, and then go 7 into Jinbei next with page 1 if she decides to counter out. I'm hoping she lets it go. Nope, okay, alright. 3, 4, 5. So she goes to 7 dot next turn. We gotta clear this then. This will force her to Gravity Tiger if she got it. And then she can go 6k of lead. Or okay, alright. You got it. Oh nice, perfect timing. This will stop her from doing Kaido if she has Kaido in hand. And this is like the ideal scenario or situation that I always try to be in. Obviously, we don't have a lot of draw mechanics with this deck, of course, other than Queen. But being able to do Magellan back-to-back on the same turn really hurts a lot of decks. Especially when you know they're going to go into their big body turn. Following that, right? She's not going to discard those. Yep, cool. There's a Boa. That sucks. Sanji. I guess we can play down Queen. It's a possibility we get removal here. Nope, never mind. I was banking on getting like another Poly. That way we can remove the Mihawk. But I guess we'll have to just attack into it at some point. Yep. Want to pressure her first. And then we'll clear this. Darn, she got out. Alright, fair. I mean, that was her whole hand as well, so she can't really Mihawk here, so I don't feel as bad. I don't know why she decided to try to clear Poly there. She's going again. 8 left. There goes the Kaido and Red Rock. I think she had Kaido in hand this whole time, and since Magellan came down, she couldn't do it. 7 here. That's fine. Lose 2 more Dawn for that. I think we can win here. I think. 1, 2. Yeah. We just have to do the correct amount, right? So we go 10. And then we can put the rest on Luffy and go for it. Good game, buddy. Well played. Alright, we're going to keep them coming. Rapid fire, as we normally do here. I'm not going to hold you guys. I'm not going to tell you that this leader is the best of the best. This leader is still meta. I'm not going to tell you that. I'm not going to tell you to go out and buy all the cards for this deck. Only do so if you're interested in playing this when the new structure decks pop off. Because I'm trying to tell you, this deck is going to be pretty good once he gets his new cards. Which are going to be pretty strong here in this build. But currently, for the time being, I think Purple Luffy has a lot of bad matchups right now. I know that sucks to say, but yeah, a little interesting. Speaking of interesting, I feel a little off right now playing against a Sabo who's using Pawseplays. So this leads me to believe he's running some sort of Big Mom package, which is interesting. And I haven't tried that myself, so maybe it's good. I don't know. All I know is we got Bon Clay on board early, so this should be pretty good. I think he'd kick that on life, but what do I know? What you doing here, Sabo? Oh, speaking of which, I love the fact that there's a time limit now. It's really nice. You don't have to play games with the time limit, but the new update for the sim is really, really good. This helps you out, especially when you get those players who like to stall, you know? 7. Get a Sanji off this. Considering we have like a bunch of 2Ks, I didn't think it was ideal just to give him, you know, 2 2K counters. When I could drop a ulti and a page 1 combo next turn, you know? Alright, so he gets Big Mom off the Search of Pudding. Which isn't bad. We can kind of save We can kind of save Bon Clay for that turn. I think we should get 2 bodies down. Let's go 5 into Pawseplays. Maybe he'll let it go. Some people tend to do this just so they can get the search off. Nice. Cool. And of course he lands it. Crazy. 2 bodies. I think there's no way that they don't play Big Mom next turn. Because they go to 7 Dawn. And if they go to 7 Dawn, that means they can't heal themselves with the Big Mom. We have 4 Dawn left, which is really, really awkward here. Because all we have is 2k counters in hand. Guess we'll just have to pass. As much as I'm thinking about playing down Usopp here, I feel like this is not the play I should make, right? We should just give it up. Bond Clay. And I guess we could attach the Dawn and go for a swing. But that seems a little irrelevant too. Alright, so here's 7. We know he has Mom in hand from the Pudding Search. We'll Trash Life. I think we have a lot of cards in hand right now. So I'm feeling a little bit safe. Kinda. But we'll see. It was probably a bad play. But if we come back in this game, we're cooking, boys. We're cooking. Alright. We got 4 attacks this turn. We got a lot of counter in hand for next turn. Let's go 5 first. Okay, cool, cool. I want to save 9 just in case I'm going to drop Kaido this turn. Try to get as many cards out of hand as I can. And hopefully he doesn't get any more bodies on board. We'll steal Big Mom's power. Of course you would. Alright, so now we have no choice but to play Kaido here. Because that's way too many attacks that I could defend next turn. If I play Sanji, we'll get the blocker up, but that still leaves us with, what, 3 Dawn left to play around with, and another awkward number again. So I think we have to play Kaido. And then we pop the Nekomamushi. And then go 10k face. I think one of those 2 targets there would be bounced to the top of life and getting boosted to the other one. So I think we have to do this to kind of prevent that. Then we just go 10k here. This should be guaranteed as well. Nice. If he was at 10 Dawn, this could be a problem. If he starts going for bodies on board, I'll protect them. I just have to be mindful of Kid and Killer. 9 over there. Okay, this one he can have. That is way too many counters out of hand. And if he does have a Kid and Killer that comes down, we would just lose because we don't have any counter to protect that. This would be way too much counter here. 7 left. 4, 3. So Sabo can swing for 5. Kid and Killer would go 11k to face. Which would suck, right? I just hope he doesn't have one of those. Four Dawn open. 8 here. This I'll counter out. I'm feeling confident. Can we get there? Oh, Zoro. Okay. Go 6. Yep, bounces Big Mom. 8. I'll counter again. This way we know that the next card that's coming up is going to be a 0 counter, right? It's Big Mom. So I think we're fine to try to go for game here. Very close game so far. We gotta math out. We can go 9 and 9 and then 10 with Kaido. 5k counters needed here. Okay. So considering that went, I don't think he's got enough counter for it. Unless he's banking on that to be a 2k to counter out here with Kaido. Please no. Oh no. Please. Nice. Good game, buddy. That was spooky. Well, would you look at that? Everybody's favorite deck to play against. In which I hope his days are numbered. Don't worry, guys. I'm not a fan. I'm sure many of you guys are not a fan of RP Law. So, I'm hoping this ban list is going to be pretty juicy. We'll see what's going to happen. 6 in hand. We don't get value with Law here. We can get 2 bodies on board. Which is nice, because it makes it a little bit more difficult for him to deal with these. I do think Law is pretty strong overall. Just not I don't think he necessarily needs to have Black Maria banned. I don't think that needs to be a thing. And I see that floating around all over the place. I know it's a hot topic. Could be a bad take, but I don't think Black Maria is the problem. Low-key. I know she's a great card, but it would feel a little bit weird for them to ban it when decks like Kaido, other purple decks can utilize her, and they won't get a chance to because another deck just makes her broken, right? So I'm not sure what they're gonna do. I've heard a different take on this, where Law is the only deck in the game, or the only leader in the game that has a removal ability, basically for free, let's be fair. And a lot of people don't deem that fair, which I get it, but it seems that it didn't really take off until OP07, when your boy has access to 8 1-drops that can just minus 3,000 power, and it feels readily available each and every turn. So, well, what are you gonna do? In any case, Kid comes on the board here. This is gonna be a tough one to deal with. We do have the Kaido to pop it the following turn. 3, 4, 5. We go to 7. Actually, we don't, because we only go up to 8 on. 6 here. We counter out this. 6 lead. Oh, okay. Counter out this again. We're cooking. We're cooking. We're cooking. We'll drop Bond Clay. No, actually, because that just gives him a free removal, doesn't it? But it gives us the Dawn, so at least next turn we know, Bond Clay is going to get guaranteed removed. And I think we have to try to go for game here. Or at least push. Oh. Okay, didn't expect that. Fair. Well, let's go 6 and 6. I will attack with Law here as well. Let's go lead. What do you do here? Bond Clay's gonna get removed. There's no point in me holding this back, I guess. If he has the Kid and Killer for the following turn, he's got it. So all we need is a couple counter cards off life here, and then we're chilling. Because we have the 0-cost event in hand to go up to 8k. So we can counter out of some big swings. We got a lot of key pieces out of hand here as well. He ramps up here with Zoro, which we have to take because I need the Kaido here. Okay, so now we have a target for the 0-cost event. Goes 6. Oof, you got it. Yep. Okay, so he should remove this. Ramps up again. What do you play down? Okay, alright. Thankfully, it wasn't another blocker, and we should be able to clear it and go for game. Speaking of Kaido, we got another one. Alright. I guess we just go 5 first. There's so many things that we could do. We could Luffy, we could Kaido, it doesn't really matter here. We go 5 face. And a good game, buddy. Nice. I wanted to do one more, at the very least, because I feel like this deck is very inconsistent sometimes. We're talking RP Law. Considering it doesn't have a search engine, right? It doesn't have a 1-drop Nami. It doesn't have any searchable cards for that matter that it plays. So sometimes when Law sees the cards he needs, he generally just wins the game. He takes over. But there are those times where he doesn't see, and then he just gets rolled. So hopefully we can get back-to-back dubs and we can move on with the day, but I doubt it's going to happen. We do have a pretty solid hand, especially when it comes to Bond Clay. We get the ramps up here in the early game. The downside is we have a lot of no counter in hand. 2 Luffys, a Kaido, and a Pauly. He immediately removes that. Unfortunately, he got a body on board with the draw as well. What do you play? I assume Penguin if he has it. Nope. And we discard more cards. Great. I was not expecting that. But I guess it's not like we can do anything about it, considering all the no counter cards that we had in hand here. Let's ramp. Magellan. Not bad. Let's go 8. And then we'll drop Magellan on board. Alright, so now he's at 3. And there's no way he removes or does his leader ability here. Yep. Okay. I think we need to remove both units on board. And then try to do some damage here. Nice. Super risky for me to do this, but we have another at least 1k counter. We'll pop this. We'll get him down to 1 life here. And then hopefully next turn we can win. He needs at least, what, 3 Gordons for Kaido and 1 Gordon for Magellan. Or sorry, I guess he needs 2 for Kaido, my bad. Math. Did we get there? No, we didn't. Okay. So there goes Magellan. The downside with the card is the fact that there's a deck out in the format, like Law, that can just remove something that isn't necessarily considered a KO, so we could play another one. Also push him down the 2 Dawn and make him go up to 4 next turn. Got 7 lead. Can we get there? Give me the Sanji? No? Okay. Alright. Oh, you know what? I think he wins here. If he has Kid and Killer in hands, and to be fair, they generally always do, I think we take this hit in hopes that we get a 2k. Nice. I guess any form of counter would be useful there. So Bon Clay has a 10k swing, because he steals Kaido's power. Yep. 4 Dawn open. Oh. Oh man, that sucks. Please. Man. This feels really awkward though. Pushes us up to 10k, right? 8, 9, 10. Yeah, it does. If he doesn't have Kid and Killer, we can win the game. Alright, never mind. Well played, well played. Yup. Hit a queen. Wasn't bad though. It was pretty good. Well played, buddy. Alright, now we gotta go. I'll probably do maybe two more games after this one, depending on how long this match is. Speaking of which, I don't know if I mentioned it, I probably did. The added timer, again, is absolutely incredible. It speeds up your plays each and every turn, because it makes you have to know what you want to do before you start your move, right? Whereas without the timer, you can sit there and stare at your hand and think about all different possibilities. I think the timer is really, really nice, and I wish they would have that in like local play as well. That'd be pretty awesome. There's no reason for games to go 30 minutes for every locals match. It shouldn't have to do that. Let's go 6 lead. Alright, get to 2k. I think Bon Clay is going to be really, really good here in this matchup. Because most of the time, both Luffy variants, they run cards like a little bit bigger bodies. So the Eustace Kid, the Queen blocker, the Kid blocker, Bon Clay has a lot of targets to hit. And speaking of targets, that's a big boy right there. I guess we have to take this. Alright, so we gotta clear him first. We have options to get him to discard cards. 2 2k counters go bye-bye. Just let it go. Thank you. I guess it really doesn't matter here. We could do Page and Ulti combo. We could do Bon Clay or Magellan. Magellan doesn't really do all too much, so we can probably save him for the zero cost event. Because he's going to be at 10 Dawn regardless next turn, if I decide to play him on board. I think Mr. 2 is just the best option here. That way, if he decides to drop like a Kaido or a Newgate, we have a bigger body to, you know, steal the power from. Oh, okay, Kid works too. Thank you. He needs a blocker here. I hope he doesn't have one, but he definitely needs that right now. Or a bunch of events, I suppose. So those could be Radical Beams. I could counter this one, which we should do. Seven, 8, 9. He could go 9k here. Yep. We just take it. It's not really a big deal. I probably should have blocked with Law, to be honest. But then again, I guess we can use him to swing if we have the Dawn here this turn. But I don't think we need it. Because Bon Clay swings for 9. Or 8. Math is hard sometimes. Get the Frankie. Let's put 2 on him this time. Come on, just take the hit. Ooh. 11. So I need one more attack to land. Which is kind of spooky, but I think we can get through it. Let me get one more card out of hand. Alright, good game. Can be a scary matchup. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this will probably be the last game with Luffy today, and then we'll dive into Ace, which will come up next. And then after that, I'll probably do one of the other characters that were on the poll, between Katakuri and Newgate. But in any case, let's get back into this one here. We're playing against Black Yellow Luffy, which is the most dominant deck in the format currently. And that shouldn't surprise anybody. Outside of, I guess, what, RP Law? I mean, he does body Lucci and Moria most of the time, but so, I mean, if he's not playing against them, it is what it is. Our hand is looking really, really good here in this matchup. Ooh, another one. You know, we might just be able to play all Bon Clays on board and just chill. Because I'm never attacking into this Luffy matchup at all. I want him to just rip cards. There's one. Now watch. I bet you he has an ace over there. Like in life that he just organized. That would kind of suck. Go 7. 2 Dawn open. Perhaps Hiyori comes down? No? Okay. Let's play down 2 more Bon Clays. I am not in any rush to do anything other than just chill. It's got 6 in hand. We'll pass it up. This way, if he drops an ace, a... what's the other one called? A Luffy. I don't know why I blanked there for a second. Speaking of which. All we gotta do is just steal power, go face. We haven't seen the Sabo come down. We know he got it. He has a Sabo in hand, the 5 cost, but we haven't seen the little one, which is nice. And all we gotta do is just chill. Now he has to pass here. Yep. Alright, what's he got? 7 in hand? This might be GG, to be honest. 1, 2, 3. We can go 1 Dawn here. We can steal the Luffy's power and then swing in. It's a big old fat 9. He needs 5k counter here. We know he has a bit of counter. So you got the searches with like the Makino, the Organized Life. You got the Garp down. Go 10. If he doesn't counter this, we just go all in with Bon Clay. And whatever's left, we just tack in with Luffy. And hopefully this does it. Oh boy. Nice. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like that was probably one of my fastest games I've ever played. Like, hands down. I don't know. Maybe it was very close to Yamato. I've had some very quick games with this leader, and I think a lot of us have. But to be able to stick 3 Bond Clays into this deck and then chill, considering the fact that he can't remove them unless he sees the Egghead Luffy, but he has to be at 2 life. So if I'm not attacking into him, he can't remove my board, which is kind of hilarious sometimes. Because as you can see, Bond Clay against Black Yellow Luffy really hits some huge numbers when most of the bodies they play on board is something like, you know, an Ace that has 7,000 power, or like a Sabo, or the Yellow Luffy. You have a lot of units to steal power from and get in those big body hits, man. It is very fun. But I do think this deck struggles, of course, against other decks in the format. Otherwise, he'd be really good and smashing out a lot of regionals and events and all that sort of thing. He has some hard matchups, and I do think decks such as like Hatakuri and Enel are probably some of his favorite ones, just due to the fact that we have access to Magellan. But Enel did recently gain the 10 cost Ace, so it's a give and take. Other than that, he has really good matchups into RP Law if they don't see all their pieces. And I know that's like really hard for them not to, but the deck does brick up sometimes, and it doesn't see certain cards it needs to see at the times it needs to see them. Occasionally. But I feel like this leader is quite strong, just not as dominant as it once was. But I do hope he does come back in the format with the brand new additions that are coming out in the structure deck. I believe I went over them a little bit in the intro, I don't remember. But in case you guys didn't stick around for that, we gain access to the Onami, the Zoro, and the Luffy here. Which, these cards, just by themselves, are really going to push this deck up quite a bit. You may not see it yet, but I'm trying to tell you, the Luffy and the Zoro are going to be huge for this leader, just because this is a searchable Straw Hat Pirate. You look at the top 5, grab a Straw Hat of any and put it in your hand. It's very easy to ramp with this deck, so being able to ramp up to 7 very quickly, and then playing down Luffy, and then playing down another 5 cost Pirate of Straw Hat is really spooky. On top of that, we also gain access to cycles this time around. We have the Queen, right? But this is on play as well for 4 Dawn. If you have 8 or more on board, you trash a dead card in hand, draw 2, say no more. And it's searchable with Zoro? Okay, cool. It's pretty good, man. It is very good. But I do think this deck is going to be... It'll come back later on, as soon as those cards come out for the structure deck. Other than that, right now I think he's suitable as a rogue deck in the current format. Again, he has some decent matchups, but he's not going to be your tier 0 or tier 1 for a lot of people. But if you're interested in picking up cards now, while you can and while they're cheap, if you're interested in playing Purple Luffy, I advise you to do that, because the structure decks will be out very soon, and he'll get a lot more playability. Overall, this has been the deck list that I've been cooking up when it comes to Purple Luffy. I do hope you guys give it a shot. Let me know what you're running. Leave your thoughts and your opinions down in the comments below on this list, and I will catch you guys in the very next video. Remember to hit that subscribe button. It really helps out the channel over here. Come hop in the Discord. Come tell me I suck. It is what it is. I will catch you guys in the next one, and or at locals. Coming up next will be Blue Yellow Ace. I'll see y'all later.